Now, I know everyone's psyched to vote in November and are hopefully getting their registration and/or life in order, but imagine for a second walking into your designated voting location on the big day and getting a giant fat no at the front door. This will be the unfortunate reality for millions of eligible voters this year, thanks to a lot of work and a little bit of bullshit. Voter suppression bills are popping up all over the nation, and they might prevent millions of Americans from voting this year. Luckily for you, I have a quick rundown of what they are, how they work, and how they might affect you and yours. So, let's talk politics. What's the new legislation sweeping the nation? Voter suppression bills, and they're a lot more harmful than you think. 164 of these suckers already exist in various state legislatures, and 21 of them have already become law, which might make it harder for certain groups of people to vote come November. Voting suppression laws, also known as restrictive voting laws, exist for some pretty strange reasons. What could be more important than a person's right to vote? Apparently, voter fraud. Yes, apparently the illicit voter fraud occurs in such overwhelming numbers that states are working themselves into a tizzy in order to prevent it. In the past year, some states have passed highly restrictive voting laws that would make it harder for at least 5 million eligible voters to vote. Unfortunately, the majority of that number seems to be the elderly, people of color, voters with disability, and voters with low income. Restrictive voting laws take a lot of options and opportunities out of the voting process. Avenues such as election day registration and early voting will be slashed, and some states even cut. And forget about handing in any old ID come election day. Most states will now require you to have some form of photo ID, which might be hard doing for people of color and the elderly. 2 states have made it harder to stay registered if you move. 2 more states have made it harder for voter registration drives to operate. Honestly, the list goes on, and none of it seems really good. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, as long as it's working, right? I mean, all of this may seem pretty harsh, but as long as we're keeping voter fraud at bay, what's the real issue? And you know what? You would be right. We are totally sticking voter fraud to the man. All 9 instances of it. Because see, when the numbers are crunched, things start to get a little weird. The Brennan Center for Justice reported that between 2000 and 2007, there were 32,000 sightings in UFOs, 325 deaths by lightning, but only 9 instances of possible voter fraud, which means you have a better chance of ET phoning your home before someone in California fakes a vote. Look, if voter fraud is a problem here, it's not a big enough one. I'm willing to sacrifice 9 possible instances for 5 million legitimate votes, but apparently some states don't really agree. So what can you do to stay on top of things? Know your state's laws. Things are changing every day, so it's important to do your research, get registered, and get your papers, because boy, are you going to need them. But don't worry, I'll be back in a few months' time to remind you. In the meantime, keep checking with me for more news, more info, and more videos. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!